Okay, little discussion. We're back with the Dahlia experiment update, and I'm gonna go over a little discussion um, about pathogens and um, kind of how they work, and we'll show you how the corn and everything's coming along, how the really bad case of gall is coming along. I was kind of wondering how this one was gonna act, and I'm actually kind of shocked. But I'll show you guys that, and then we'll look at the corn, and then we'll discuss. So stick around for the discussion at the end. Now, if you're just tuning in and this is the first video you're catching, go back to the first in this series. Um, it's the one where I got a cob of corn in my hand, dried out corn that I used for seed for this experiment. Go back to that video and start there and work your way through. And I'll try to get all these in a playlist on YouTube in the next 24, 48 hours, as soon as I have time. So, okay, so let me give you kind of a little background. So these all needed water, obviously. Um, and with everything that I water, I put my mycogasm biostimulant in it. This contains plant-derived extracts, some polyphenols, some proteases, and other things. And it's all plant-derived, natural. And it's, I mean, organic, but it's not organically labeled, nor am I even going for the OMRI labeling. Anyway, but know that it's a natural product, it's plant derived. So I put that in all my water solutions for everything around here. And I have since I developed the product. It's now been about 6 years. And the reason being is because when I use it, I don't ever have to worry about pathogens of any kind, period. And my plants are a lot stronger, a lot more vigorous. They usually withstand pest pressure as well, but if environment or something else causes them to decrease in bricks a little bit and pests do come in, I'll use my foliar spray and they'll be gone. But anyway, it really makes the plant a lot stronger. It makes them grow more quickly, and they associate far more heavily to beneficial microbes in the soil and on the plant itself, the phyllosphere. So anyway, I put it in all of my watering solutions. I put it in when I foliar spray anything, it goes in it as well. It's an awesome product, and I use it extensively. So anyway, that was in the water. I felt like everything needed a little bit of nutrients to get going. Hang on, my dog's chewing something. You need to not chew my stuff, buddy. Okay. Anyway, I felt like they all needed a little bit of nutrients to get going, and so I use fish hydrolysis, and we'll talk about that in a minute. And so I put about a tablespoon of that in 5 gallons. I put a half of a gram of this in 5 gallons, which is about a quarter teaspoon. And then I put root-wise inoculant, which has mycorrhiza, bacillus, trichoderma, photosynthetic bacteria, nitrogen-fixing bacteria, etc., etc. It's a very good all-around consortium. So anyway, I put a little of that in there. I probably put some EM1 in there as well, which is lactobacillus, Pseudomonas palustris, which is photosynthetic bacteria, and Saccharomyces brewer's yeast. Anyway, you can get that from Terraganics, and I use that pretty regularly on all my plants. It's especially good if you have alkaline or clay soils because they're fermentive bacteria and they'll help produce organic acids that will help open that clay up and allow calcium and other minerals in and out more easily. And they're excellent for plant health. And they're all three, this is key, they're all three endophytic microbes, meaning they enter the plant and live within the plant. And so I use those for that reason extensively, and I'll discuss that in other videos I do, and if I forget, somebody remind me. So anyway, it likely had EM1 in it. It had root-wise inoculant in it. It had microgasm in it, and it had the fish hydrolysate in it. Hydrolysate. Yeah. When I say fish hydrolysate, for some reason I want to reverse hydrolysate. Anyway, so one more ingredient I put in it, and the reason being, and we'll discuss this more heavily after we look at the plants. Nasia, get out of there, buddy. You can't eat those. He's trying to snack on the leafy gall dahlias. Anyway, the fish hydrolysate is high in proline, okay? And we'll discuss this more heavily here in the discussion section. But I put an ingredient in there to counteract or balance that proline effect out. And that ingredient is GABA. GABA, gamma aminobutyric acid, okay? Your GABA to proline ratio is what dictates whether the bacteria that's already present is going to cause leafy gall, okay? It dictates quorum sensing. Quorum sensing dictates virulence in pathogens. Okay, so we'll get a little more into that later, but I put that in the water as well. And then I watered everything, like all my seedling starts and everything. And I put that in there to counteract the proline that was in the fish hydrolysate. Now, this microgasm, I've gotten like not very, like minor gall, leafy gall tubers, you know, where it looked like a little tiny cauliflower, just 3 or 4 fused together. And, you know, it immediately just grew a normal tuber, nothing abnormal ever came from it. And like it didn't look like leafy gall anymore. And I'm like, oh, maybe it really wasn't leafy gall, you know. So, because it just immediately did that. Like, I mean, it's fast. Anyway, and so, but I wasn't expecting that on the majorly galled tuber. I took some before pictures of it, and you can look at them on the Dahlia group, the disease and research group, and compare to what you're looking at here in a minute. So, I have some good dahlias that I bought from tubers. Hey, watch out, buddy. Tubers from Ace, and put them in pots in soil. Now this one I've taken 3 cuttings off. One of the cuttings I put under the really bright light and didn't realize it until the next day, and so I thought I had killed it, but it's coming back. It's rooted now, so, and those leaves are, this one's actually starting to perk back up. So anyway, and there's one other one from this one up there. This one I took 2 or 3 cuttings off of, and I'm going to let that grow out. I'm going to let that grow out. I took 3 or 4 cuttings off this one, and then I'm going to let those grow out now. So, and there's one of the cuttings. Then there's more cuttings up here, more cuttings here. Anyway, and so that's the non-disease stock that I'm growing out, so we can test transmission and things like that when we get to that point. So anyway, let me show you this other one, and I'm gonna be real careful because this is the second time trying to make this video because the leaf touched the screen last time and turned my recording off. So I'm gonna try to get the best images I can of this. This was the excessively diseased leafy gall tuber set. So I'm going to try to hold this as still as possible so you guys can pause this and zoom in and look close, okay? Because I cannot flip my camera while I'm recording. So this is right. Okay, so when I got this, it was completely cauliflower looking, right? Like, I can't see real good, but anyway, totally cauliflowered out, and a whole bunch of fasciated material coming out of there. And I poured that solution over this, right over the top of the tuber, and then, you know, the excess went down in here and got the cocoa wet so it could drink from it. Anyway, all the fasciated material died back, wilted and died back, and then kind of just dried up, and I don't know, it didn't really fall off. I mean, there wasn't really anything left. But anyway, and then good shoots came out. Okay, and I've taken 6 shoots off of this plant already. They're right here. Okay. I see they are. They're rooted. Nice. Anyway, and if you look in here, like, there's a little bit of cauliflowery right here where my finger is. You can see the remnants of it there, but it's kind of dried up. See how that's all dried up? Dried up. Right, and I expect that'll be dried up pretty soon, but we'll see. Anyway, and there is no fused anything now, and there's nothing coming out weird fasciated. It's all got legit leaves, shoots, everything going on, okay? So I didn't expect that level of recovery that fast because of all the research I've done on these bacteria and this disease. Okay, so I have some theories. We'll discuss those after we finish looking at stuff because I want to show you the corn. So, that had microgasm, GABA, a good consortium of beneficial bacteria and fish hydrolysis, which I don't recommend necessarily using fish hydrolysis, especially if you're having issues with gall of any kind. But don't use salts, because salinity is one of the main reasons that plants will produce and release proline. So, major instigator of gall as well if you have high salinity. So, keep that in mind. Okay, I can't turn this off. Can I turn it? Or it'll go completely dark. Can I turn it down? And then can we see this? Yes. Okay. So I'm real happy with the corn. Our little foliar greened everything up real nicely. I put it outside and we got some serious windburn. I have 60-mile-an-hour sustained winds here. And it's 90 and up gusts sometimes. So this was sitting in sustained 60s. It survived pretty darn well. The Dahlias did great too. We'll get in and look at those. I want to kind of get in close here without hitting my button. Okay, all of these that are planted in here came off that rootstock. Came off this. They're tubers that were down in here that were also quite extensively galled, especially two of them. Super extensively galled on two of them. And this is one of those two right here. Let's see. Okay. And we have, I don't know, 4 or 5 viable shoots that I will probably take cuttings in a couple days. And then this was all fasciated and cauliflowered. Now, there's no more cauliflowery. The fasciation died back. And, can you see? I think so. Trying to hold it still. Pause and then zoom in. And we have non-fused shoots coming up so far. So, keep an eye on it. Now, I do expect what's in here to do even better than what's down there, because these have the added effect of the nimboa, okay, which is further weakening any colonization of these microbes. Okay, can you see that? Maybe. Okay. This one might have been the worst one. There's still... There we go. Okay. Can we see what's going on there, guys? Am I pointing in the right place? Yeah. Okay. So anyway, good viable shoots, no fasciated material. That cauliflower is spreading out and turning into viable shoot starts is what it looks like, okay? Not jumping into too many conclusions here, but this is what I'm seeing. This one, boom, just strong shoots. Can we see it? Let's see, I hate having to use this camera. Okay, yeah, just strong shoots on this one, okay? Oh, yeah, look. This was the cauliflower. Yeah, there you go. Right there. Okay, right down here. It was a cauliflower. Okay, all the fasciation went back. And we do have a couple little baby shoots coming up. One nice shoot there, one nice one here, one nice one there. Okay. I thought there was 4 in here. Yeah, there is right there. Oh, dang. That's a big old stocky sucker. I should cut that and start it. That sucker's nice. Okay. So, it looks like we got a little leaf miner or thrip. Sorry. I'm sorry, guys. I'll get a better phone soon. Okay. Those got to go outside a couple days while I was off. They got the wind actually absolutely blew the crap out of them, but they survived. The dahlias did pretty good. I think I don't know how windproof they are, but I think the massive amount of corn here, it literally looks like grass. Oh yeah, so we got our third leaf, okay? Here's our first leaf. Let's see. First leaf, second leaf, third leaf. See, that fourth one's just getting ready to emerge. This one, yeah, the fourth leaf starting to emerge right out the middle right there. We want this fourth leaf to be full size. So I'd say 3 more days for the majority of that tray. And that'd be just about right if it's ready in 3 days, because I think I have the day off. In about 3 more days, I'll be able to harvest that corn, and I'll gently eat all of it. We'll wash the roots real good, and then we'll macerate it and make a extraction that we'll then use on some other dahlias. I got some other ones over here that I'm just kind of holding in limbo. So, okay, so tell me what you guys think about those tubers. And go back and watch the earlier videos, because the one where I was planting the corn, I show you those dahlia, those tubers, those disease tubers in the video, and 2 of them were really extremely bad. I think one of them really wasn't very bad, if I remember right. Can't remember. Maybe that's the one that's big and fat up there. So, anyway, and you see what it's doing now. Now, are those big, fat, voluptuous tubers? No. Are they fasciated? No. They're absolutely normal. They root normal. So if the fasciation's caused by a whole bunch of plant hormones, be it all out of whack, okay, those won't grow a normal stem or flower, because the signals are all crossed. It's trying to create a leaf and a stem and a flower all at the same time, whatever, Anyway, so if it produces viable shoots that are not fasciated, that means those hormones are not as out of whack. Now, I'll discuss that for a minute, okay? Because in my research, I always look at what my ingredients in my products do with different things. And what I came across with this disease is that, not with this disease, with this disease, but with plants in general, but also with this disease, certain polyphenols regulate the plant hormones. They regulate the synthesis of it within the plant. And if that's present, that can't go out of whack up or down, right? It stays where it should be in relation to other hormones. And that's what one of the polyphenols in this does. And so I thought, well, that'll be interesting, you know. And that's why I wasn't really shocked with that minor stuff, because I'm like, well, if it's just starting to express, it's just going to fix it. I already know that. Okay, because it doesn't even have to be microbial necessarily. The microbe could still be there, though, and could at a later time, if the plant becomes susceptible or the conditions present, you know, cause a gall issue again. So that's what we're going to talk about. So there's with pathogens, there's pathogenicity and there's virulence. Okay. Now these microbes are ubiquitous. They're everywhere. You're not going to get them out of your soil. Okay. Now, if they're expressing virulence, do you want to hang on to that soil and put healthy tubers in it? No. Because if they're expressing virulence, all it takes is one little few seconds of weakness at any point in time because of any stress or whatever else, and that bacteria can gain ground and cause gall. Okay. But the bacteria is already there. Okay. And chances are the bacteria is already pathogenically expressing. Okay. Otherwise, it can't infect the plant even if there's an open wound on the plant, unless it's pathogenically expressing, because it still has to enter the plant cells. Okay. And unless it's expressing, come on, get out from behind me, buddy. Come on, get out from behind me. Unless it's expressing the pathogenic shall we say, metabolic framework in order to infect the cell of the plant, even with an open wound, it's not going to cause gall. So now, if it's pathogenically expressing, and just assume it is, right? That makes your life easier. Assume it's pathogenically expressing. Do everything that you can to prevent virulence. Okay? That's why I put the GABA in the water solution, was because that I know that proline drives quorum sensing in these bacteria, and quorum sensing drives virulence, period. Now, you have to have the pathogenic genes expressing, or proline doesn't make any difference, right? But if they're expressing, then all it takes is a elevated proline level, and suddenly you have infected tubers everywhere. Okay? The bacteria is there. I promise you it's there. Okay? Now, what drives proline? Increases in proline in soil and the plant. Saline soils, high salt levels in your soils cause the plant to synthesize proline as a stress response, as a stress mitigation response. Okay, that proline is exuded from the roots, etc., etc. The plant uses it as well, and then that right there is why high saline soils tend to make you more susceptible to leafy gall and crown gall. because it causes the plant to produce proline as a stress mitigation response. Um, um, Excessively arid climate, right? Zero, real low humidity will cause plants to do that as well. And drought stress, letting them dry down too far, right? I see that most people are super scared to water their dahlias too much. But on the other side of that is drought stress, okay? If there's pathogenically expressing Rhodococcus faciens in that soil, and there's Rhodococcus faciens in the soil and on the plant already, I promise you that. Whether they're pathogenically expressing, who knows, okay? But if you assume you are, then you stay on the safe side of things by being proactive. Anyway, that higher proline level can allow for increased quorum sensing, or it causes increased quorum sensing, okay? Drives it. And then that increased quorum sensing is immediate virulence. You'll immediately start getting the symptoms of gall, okay? Now, is gall curable? I don't know. It looks to me like the gall dies, right? It doesn't look like it's cured. It looks like it dies back. And if the hormones, auxins and cytokines and whatnot in that tissue are suddenly regulated by the ingredient in microgasm, that would cause that tissue to die back. And then maybe normal tissue regrow, I don't know. But it would definitely cause that tissue to have an issue, because that tissue that grew like that is reliant on those hormones to continue to grow like that or remain like that. Those hormones get shut down, and then it looks like the part where it came from. Now zoom in, pause, examine those as best you can, and I'll get some actual photographs because you can look better, and see what you think. But it looks like that cauliflowery stuff died, and then a normal shoot bud comes from it, from a group of what would have been 6 or 8 all fused, but look through it and see what you see, right? So I think that those cells that get affected that way, that start producing the fasciated growth, I think those cells all the way to the basal root of that, where it's starting, those cells, I think they all die. And, the plant grows back a normal, regulated hormonal growth, which causes good shoots. Now, will those shoots grow tubers with leafy gall? I don't know. That's what we're going to find out. I got those 6 cuttings, and I'll probably take, 6 more. We'll grow those out, and we'll see, right? What happens. We'll send some off for testing. We'll flower some out, because that's what we really want to see. Does it produce a strong plant that produces a beautiful flower that's reliable, right? I don't know. Was it that simple? Well, if you understand how biology works, and that, this germ theory stuff doesn't really hold true in nature and in real life, that it's more about terrain, right? And the health of the plant, the animal, the human, as to what or how these bacteria and other microbes affect things, right? So there's several angles that's working on from. There's probably 5 at least bacteria that are tested and known to be biocidal to Rhodococcus faciens in that root wise. Trichoderma, several bacillus species, etc., etc. Okay, those are biocidal to the offending bacteria. So you have that with, and the biostimulant, the microgasm, really whips those guys into high gear. There's a reason after, observation of what it did with the microbiology. There's a reason I named it what I named it. I mean, it whips them into a frenzy. They reproduce and populate and do all the good stuff they're supposed to do. Okay? So those bugs in a jug become superstars. They're not lazy, okay, like they are when they come out of the jar or the bag or whatever. So anyway, so you have that angle that those are getting hit from, okay? Suppressive biology, biocidal biology. And then you have the cellular hormone regulation angle from the polyphenol in the microgasm. And then you have the GABA, which is, and I don't know how this is derived. I should look into that more. Because if I can find it derived in a good manner, I would make a Dahlia specific microgasm product so that you guys don't have to order GABA and weigh it all out or whatever. If you're wanting to use the microgasm anyway, and have it specifically for Dahlia. So, anyway, and that stops. Oh, and I forgot one of the ingredients in the microgasm biostimulant also stops quorum signaling in these bacteria and almost every pathogenic microbe. Everyone I've looked it up as, it stops the quorum signaling. So, and I think one of those studies is posted on the website on that product page if you want to look at that. I'll try to get that more populated with studies because there's a million studies on these things, and for some reason it's not at the forefront of agronomy or any of this. But anyway, so the ingredient in that stops quorum signaling, and then adjusting the GABA to proline ratio upwards so that GABA is excessive is on the excessive side even of dominant against proline. Then you stop it from the cellular invasion end of the quorum signaling as well. So there's a few different ends of that. There's effector molecules, which the pathogens use to gain entry to the cell. Okay, and microgasm, the protease in microgasm stops those effector molecules from being formed. So then they have a harder time entering the cell. If that's the only mechanism for entering the cell, they then can't. Okay, for everyone that gets affected by that ingredient in there, and it absorbs and migrates through. So anyway, you have like 4 or 5 different avenues of attack / prevention / going on here, regulation going on here with these 3 ingredients that I put in with these 3 of those ingredients that are in there: the GABA, the microgasm, and the root-wise inoculant. Okay. So comment, you guys, and let me know if you would like to see a Dahlia specific product, because I will go ahead and make that and offer it. A lot of you guys have supported me extensively already, and I can't wait to see and hear back the results that it helps you with this year, because that's my favorite part of my job, is when I reach out or hear back from customers, because everybody who uses it, like the directions say, and doesn't go crazy with it, because you can overdo it. They are blown away by what it does for them in every aspect. And so anyway, I by no means mind making a Dahlia specific product and offering it for you guys. Let me know, because if I don't see interest for it, there's no reason to do it. That's a very niche product. So, anyway, so without even bringing Dimboa into the equation yet, and we will, but without even bringing it into the equation yet, you see what we have. Okay. Now, I haven't grown dahlias before this year. I haven't dealt with Dahlia doll, crown gall, or leafy gall before this year. So, but I do work with other flower crops specifically, heavily, with pathogens that are thought to be unsolvable in these type of growing conditions and nutrition and whatnot, because people have literally burned their places down and walked away because of these pathogens that I've figured out how to solve really easily. It's not even hard. You just have to make a few little changes in your program, and boom, you're pathogen free forever. Even if crazy other stressors come in and things happen at your facility or whatever, like you might see little beginnings of something, like it wants to start, but you'll never see anything take off or go, and when you see those little beginnings of things, reach out if you don't understand what to do. But a lot of times, once you've been doing this for a little while, you'll understand what to do. A lot of times it's just need a little bit more calcium in the soil. That's usually what it is. When you see something start to peak back in, throw some gypsum down. Or if you have low pH soils, throw some calcium lime down, right? That's usually when you see something start to poke its head in. That's usually the issue, especially if you're using microgasm biostimulant, because it takes the plant to a level where it's where pathogens are unable to attack or affect the plant, period. And we can talk more about that later in another video. But you could go watch. John Kemp has a video called Plant Health Pyramid. And there's the level 1, 2, and at 2 you're pathogen free. And he tells you all the reasons why. I don't want to make this video too long by getting into all of it, but it has to do with bricks and secondary metabolites. Once those are at a certain level, pathogens cannot attack, period. And the biostimulant gets you there as long as you have the calcium and the minerals that your plant needs in the soil. Usually if you're in ground soil, all the minerals are usually there. all your micronutrients and stuff, they may not be available, but you put a little soluble calcium, and get that microbiome going. Maybe supplement it with some foliar spray for a week or two, and you'll see that full plant health come in with pest resistance, pathogen resistance, everything, because your microbiome will make everything else in the soil that the plant needs available. Boom. Soil's easy when you're not in a contained media. If you're in a contained media, okay, and you're not in the ground, you're subject to whatever's in that soil or soilless media, right? And whatever salts, if you're feeding salts or organics, whatever. If you're short micronutrients, it can be disastrous pest and disease-wise, because your plant won't be able to keep up with what it needs. So manganese is a big one, boron's a big one, sulfur. And then for pests, molybdenum and cobalt, okay? Because if it can't utilize the nitrogen properly, you're going to get pests, okay? Okay, so we've probably got about 3 more days. We'll have a full 4th leaf, and then we're going to take those, pull them by the roots, macerate them, make a solution extract with it. Okay, and then why don't you guys comment? Do you want me to treat that really bad one? The one that was really bad? It looks like it doesn't have any more fasciation anyway. Okay. Do you want me to treat that with Dimboa as well? Or should I put the Dimboa on the plants that haven't gotten any mycogasm and GABA and root-wise water? Because these other tubers that I recently got, I just put plain water on them because I, saw that it didn't matter how bad the gall was, it was going to fix it. Now, if it truly fixed it and that's all it takes, and it doesn't need the Dimboa, wonderful. If the Dimboa does it on its own, on these other tubers, that's super awesome too, right? But let's see what happens, because we can come up with plans to remediate soil in large areas and make you fearless to grow dahlias in areas that you pulled, or in soil that you pulled diseased tubers out of. Or, even, we get sure enough, leave that diseased tuber there, pour your concoction over it, keep an eye on it for a couple of weeks, and, I'm not saying we're there yet by any means, but it's looking real promising. So please give me your feedback, and we'll keep everybody updated. So, with this pathogenicity and virulence, you can, with Fusarium, you can, for the most part, you can downregulate these pathogenic expressions so that you can have disastrous stressors come in with the most minor damage, if any damage affects any plants. You can't get rid of these things, okay? They're everywhere in nature. They're airborne, okay? You're not getting rid of them. But with Fusarium, you 100% can downregulate its pathogenic expressions. Okay, there's multiple different avenues of expressions of things it does pathogenically. And with virulence, if you can stop quorum sensing, you stop virulence, period. Okay, in pathogens, all pathogens. Okay, you still have pathogenicity there. There still can be minor damage here and there, little things, but there's no takeover. Okay, you have time to address those pathogenic traits and expressions then, right? And time to deal with whatever you need to deal with, suppression-wise, with biology, or whatever. Okay, leave me your feedback, and in 3 days, we're gonna pull this corn, clean it, and get going on our project.